The bloopers are even better. You know, you can watch bloopers on it for hours where one of them breaks.
Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals.
It is.
All right, there we go. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another week of This Week in Real Estate with John. Well, we got a substitute today. Bryan Nale's here. We also have our good friend Scott Stuible in the building. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're going to be talking about all things insurance, real estate, and everything in between. But Bryan, take it away.
I feel like this was a very helter-skelter start to the show this week.
Already, we're flying the plane as we building the plane as we go,
and that's like, and Jonathan's not here to see it, so that's he's probably watching, going, "What the heck are they doing?"
No.
All right, so Jonathan is not able to be here today, so we've got a fantastic fill-in. Scott Stuible with Farmers Insurance is here, and Jonathan and I talk about real estate. We talk about mortgage. We talk about these kinds of things a lot, but a huge component of home ownership is homeowners insurance. So happy to have you on today to share some of the industry updates and the things that are going on in the insurance world with us. So Trent, let's just dive right in the show and get to some market movers and headlines.
All right, back to you.
We're going to totally redeem ourselves, Trent says. All right. So I got a little headline here today, and it's I didn't know this, but there is something called an RMI, and it's the remodeling index, remodeling market index, and it's up. And here in Scott and I are in a group called Believers in Business that meets over here on Thursday mornings, and it's an awesome organization. If you want any more information about that, shoot me a note. I'd be happy to share what we do with you. Trent's in the group as well. And so we have a banker in our group, Judy King with First Bank, and this morning she was talking about HELOCs and how many HELOCs you get. And I think, man, like, absolutely, from what everyone I've talked to that's in retail banking, and just people, the phone calls I'm getting and asking if I do HELOCs, that is growing. And so the group that tracks this RMI, Remodeling Market Index, they point to a few things. I don't think it takes a rocket science to figure this out, but some of the things that they think are driving this are aging housing. So homes are getting older. People love the rate that they're in, so they want to stay put. The Fed has cut rates several times last year, so that's driving. Most HELOCs are based on a spread to the Wall Street Journal prime rate. So as the Fed cuts rates, prime goes lower. That means the cost of borrowing through a HELOC or credit cards, car loans, those short-term things, that drops. So that and what else did they say here? Dead air. Strong homeownership equity. So people have a lot of equity in their homes. But so those are the factors that are leading to that. So I thought that might be kind of cool for you to kind of run with that a little bit and tell us if somebody's remodeling their house, they're updating it. What are things that they should keep in mind from an insurance standpoint?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And to your point, we as an insurance industry, I'm seeing a lot, even within my agency, of people that are getting HELOCs and requesting the proof of insurance for these projects. And we always try to ask them, what are you doing? Are you doing a remodel? You adding a back patio, a pool, et cetera. So my advice would be, talk to your agent and just ask them. Typically, a remodel isn't going to change your risk of a homeowner's insurance policy, if, just any standard remodel, but you may want to increase coverage in certain areas. So if you put a pool in, you may want to talk about increasing your liability on your home. If you put in a detached structure, you build that pole building that you're going to put your motorhome in now under roof, your policy may not have enough coverage for the detached structures, second structure. It's easy and inexpensive to increase that coverage. So you can never go wrong when you're dealing with things. Contact your agent and talk through, what are we doing? What are we planning? It may be that no changes are necessary, but it's always better to confirm that and be, safe than sorry.
Absolutely. I would imagine like if you're putting a pool, an umbrella policy might be something that you want to think about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And an umbrella policy is a great policy. It's one that statistically, you may not ever use it, but the one time that exactly.
Just like all insurance, you hope you never file a claim.
Exactly. Yeah. But the one time that you are in a bad enough liability accident where an umbrella comes into play, financially, it's the best decision you ever made to have that policy. So it's and these are all things that when you review your policies with your agent, you should be discussing and going over the what ifs, if you will.
Yeah, cool. So what else is going on industry wise over in insurance?
Yeah. So, the industry has definitely changed post COVID. I tell people all the time the policies that we had 10 years ago, certainly the policies that our parents had, the design of the policy, the coverage is a very different policy today. So, as a homeowner, as an insured, you really need to, educate or re-educate yourself on what does your current policy and your coverage look like. And my advice to anybody out there is, be wary of buying a policy online. Partner with a professional that is going to go through and because there's all kinds of facets in my life that I don't know what I don't know. For most people, insurance is one of those avenues. And you look through and you'll always have what I like to call the joys of home ownership. You're a homeowner, you're going to pay for certain things, repairs, certain expenses of wear and tear, things like this, that insurance just is not designed. It's not designed to be a home maintenance program. It's designed to cover you in a disaster and emergency. Yeah. So, understanding with your agent, walking through what are my risks, where are my gaps, what are my deductibles, how much cash do I need to have saved to help me through a deductible. When I started my agency in 2012, I would see homeowners policies with a $500 deductible. Those days are long gone. Now you may still have one that you're grandfathered into, but most insurance carriers now are offering the minimum $2,500 deductible. Some is 1% of your dwelling. So $600,000 house, you have a 1%, that's a $6,000 deductible. And that's become industry standard now. And most people, when they understand that, get it, they're okay with it. But, you don't let it surprise you. Work with your agent to understand those
when we
coverages. Think
about how many households are quote unquote paycheck to paycheck, or they're one missed paycheck away from a financial disaster. Yeah. Imagine if you got had a storm and all of a sudden now you've got a $6,000 check you got to write to get your house fixed. So having some savings and reserves is just good stewardship of your finances. Right. Yeah. Right. So it always cracks us up when we're in our networking group and when it's your turn to stand up and talk, you're really good at like giving real world examples, real client examples of things that you've seen out there in the field. Tell us something that you've seen here recently that you were just kind of like, you had to scratch your head. We do a "this is real" moment for listeners. I want to hear a "this is real" in the insurance.
So, I've got all kinds of real world that probably all of us to some degree have dealt with, and it's just not understanding your coverage or lack of coverage. You have had your house since 2010, and I'm making up numbers, but you've done a remodel and you still haven't insured for what it was worth in 2010, right? Yeah. That's a very common thing that I see where, we say, man, this house in 2010 was $280,000. Now it's $500. We didn't increase this coverage, and you're only going to go up a couple $100, but it's worth it, right? So those are common. Now, kind of the crazy, way out in left field ones. One that comes to mind is I had a gentleman that had a rental property near Memphis, and this a couple years back, and I was quoting all this stuff, and I saw his rental property had liability only on it. So that means no dwelling coverage. Yeah. The house itself was not insured, and it was going to be, he was going to hold it for a while and, piddle with it and flip it. Well, it's probably a $180,000 house outside of Memphis at the time. And, I counseled him on, man, the policy you have is just liability. And he, is like, oh, I need to talk with my business partner. Maybe we need to change that. Well, and I couldn't make this up. The house burned down before we were able to do anything, before he made a decision.
Ooh.
So he called me distraught. And, it's one of those things that, he started with asking me, can we start the policy now? I'm like, nah, that's insurance fraud. We can't do that. Yeah. Of course, the fire already happened, but not to make light of or make it light, but it was a serious loss that he had to kind of learn the hard way. Now, thankfully, they were a successful business and they were able to overcome that and rebuild and stuff, but would have been a lot more advantageous had it cost him a $1,500 deductible to rebuild that home.
That's a bath.
Yeah,
That's an absolute bath.
And in reality, I'm getting close, but the policy he had was $450 a year for just liability. Mine, which would have covered the whole dwelling, was $1,200 or something. So it's like, man, you saved $700 to cost you basically $180,000. So, hopefully those types of issues are very few and far between. Yeah. But that happens. And I just tell everybody, not all insurance is created equal. Not all policies have the same coverage. And in insurance, as much as anything, ignorance is not bliss. You can't operate under the I have insurance, so I'm good. You need to understand your insurance. And we've seen this, in the health insurance industry, people. I have health insurance. Why am I paying so much money? Well, it's drastically changed. Right. The personal lines, the home and auto hasn't gotten as far out of hand as the medical insurance, but there are definitely changes that we as homeowners, consumers, insureds need to understand.
It's like, it's never too late until it is too late.
Right. Exactly.
And then it's too late.
Yeah.
And then you're toast.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like what you're saying here is a lot. It echoes what I tell people too. I want people to be able to explain to their nosy uncle at the family reunion this summer why they got the mortgage they got. If he's like, hey, I saw you bought a house. Congratulations. Tell me about your mortgage. Somebody's going to be nosy. Somebody's going to have that conversation. They're either a little bit of a geek about things or they're just nosy. And I think it's important that somebody can explain, because if they can explain why they got an FHA loan versus conventional, or they can explain why the coverage that they got on their home is more beneficial than the other ones that they had shopped for, that means that their representative has taken the time to explain the process to them, and that they have had an option. They've made a choice, and I think it's important for people to be able to make a choice rather than just be told, this is your insurance policy. Right. This is your loan. This is your mortgage.
Well, and I'd take it a step further as to be able to explain why did you partner with Bryan Nale when you could have gotten a 0.1% less from a online loan, right? And stuff like that. And from where I sit, I see I'm usually the last one in the deal as the homeowner's insurance. I see it at closing and we start the policy and I can unequivocally tell you that from where I sit, the policies that I bind where the mortgage was done from a unknown internet company versus a local professional like yourself, it's night and day. The quality of the closing and the experience and the timeline and everything, the insured, when they're my client, they're the insured, is so much happier working with a local professional that knows the area and knows the industry, has the options like you said. And I would counsel anybody, just like in insurance, work with a local professional. Mortgage is a no-brainer. I tell people, I don't do my own dental work. I don't cut my own hair. I'm not going to buy my own insurance policy without working with a professional. A mortgage, my taxes, all this. I mean, this is why we partner with professionals because you have the know-how.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got into this and we went straight into the meat and the potatoes. I want a couple more side dishes, man. Tell us about Scott Stuible.
Oh man, moved here in 2006. I was from Michigan originally and was only supposed to be here a year. I was in the auto industry and kind of on a rotation, and it was time to move out. And I had a taste of Middle Tennessee living after a year, and I said, "There's no way I'm moving away." So, did a stint in a couple other sales positions, and And every time I was in something, they try to relocate me somewhere, and I got tired of that. I was like, you know, this is home. My daughters were born here. You know, my life is here now, and so I started my insurance agency. So that was in 2012. I knew that you know, nobody's going to move me out of here unless I choose to do it.
Yeah.
So. And it's been great. I've got 2 beautiful daughters. They're in high school here locally. Have a wife here. I need to say beautiful wife. I said beautiful daughters. You know, that'll get me in trouble.
It's a given.
That goes without saying. Just worried someday she'll figure me out, and you know, then I'm in trouble. But and that's it, man. I enjoy golfing, hunting, fishing. You know, trying to give back to the community where I can, and just love being a part of the Middle Tennessee community. I mean, the Murfreesboro community.
I know your heart for the community. And in fact, you're wearing a shirt. So tell us about the shirt that you got on here.
So a soldier's child is the you know, outside of my family and my faith, a soldier's child is probably the nearest and dearest thing to my heart. That it's a national organization that exists to, and I'll way over summarize, basically love on the children of our nation's fallen heroes. So these are children that have lost a parent, either a military parent, either through active duty or when they returned home. And this national organization, headquartered right here in Murfreesboro area, they do all kinds of things: birthday presents, Christmas gifts. They do a lot of camps where they bring the kids in, and just it's great because these kids have all gone through the same thing. It's a safe space for them to love on each other, and it's part of the healing process. And that's where I'm involved, is with all the hunting camps.
Yeah.
So we do deer hunting, turkey hunting, squirrel, rabbit. We do coyote hunting. They do fishing. I've been to Georgia on hog hunting with them, been to Texas on a family camp with them. So amazing organization. Love to give to them because I see firsthand how these kids benefit from these camps.
I can imagine that those kids probably feel just the loneliness and the isolation that they may feel, and so to be around other children who are living the same, you know, circumstances is probably very comforting to them. And
it's heartbreaking as the reality is, you know, other kids are mean. So you know, a public school or any school they're at, kids can be mean. And you know, somebody, it may be joking, it may be whatever, but I mean, you know, other kids don't know what these kids are going through, and they get it at school a lot of times.
That's terrible.
And it breaks your heart. So when they're together, you know, we really dwell on, this is a safe space where you can be, you let your guard down. You don't have to put up that wall, that shield. You know, I see, as a mentor, I see the friendships I make with the kids is remarkable, and I keep in touch with a lot of them, and it really changes my life quite a bit. But the friendships they make with each other, I mean, it's wild to see, and the growth that they have, and just the pure benefit of it.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's you said it's very unfortunate, but it's kind of like, I used to be involved with the domestic violence program, and it's an unfortunate circumstance, but they can live in the shadows of the community, you know, and so if we don't talk about those things, and we don't shine a light on them, as spread the positive, shine a light on what's going right? Like, so if we allow those things to just exist in the shadows, then we're not bringing that to the forefront to raise the awareness of those circumstances that our neighbors are living through. So that's great. Does a Soldier Child have anything coming up soon that people can support?
Yeah, so soldierchild.org is the website that'll give you all the information. Daryl Mackin, I consider him a very close friend. He's the founder, CEO. You know, there's always ways to get involved. If you're not an outdoorsy hunter, you know, there's other camps. They have a culinary camp if you're good with.
Was a culinary arts teacher at Blackman for a while, wasn't he?
Yep. And then he had a deal in his life where he saw firsthand the child of a soldier who was killed, and you know, it hit him in his heart, and he started this foundation. And you know, they do everything from Christmas shopping, different shopping trips throughout the year for that month's birthdays. You know, gift wrapping. They meet at a local church and do their gift wrapping and things. And, you know, there's all kinds of avenues to help, not just financially. You know, financial help is amazing, but there's also, you know, time donations and getting involved any way you can. So it's all on there. And I know you could reach out to the office as well, and they could help, you know, direct you and guide you. And I just tell everybody, man, I get more out of it than the kids do probably half the time. You know, I'll have people, you know, man, you'd spend a weekend in the fall taking these kids hunting. That's great. And I'm like, don't feel bad for me. I get to ride 4-wheelers and shoot guns. I'm just being a big kid myself, right? So, but it's a great time, great organization.
Awesome. Tell us the website again.
Soldierschild.org.
Soldierschild.org. Excellent.
It'll go on the screen right here.
That's right.
Do we have that? Do we have that technology here?
In post, yeah.
It'll be in the comments for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's
Trent, we got a This Is Real.
We do, man. It's
excellent.
It's a good one.
This is the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
No way.
Staging.
Staging.
This is called staging.
This is like it's a nice room. Like I love I love the windows and the natural light that has, the nature scene outside, and then wow, what on earth is the mannequin doing in the picture?
Are we sure it's a mannequin?
Is it is this a psycho situation?
Yeah. Talking to, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That got me. I was like, oh, this will be perfect for this one.
I mean, how fresh is that cup of tea?
You can see yourself in the room, though. This is what this delivers.
You really can.
I own the same hat. I can see myself enjoying coffee in that view.
Paints a picture for sure.
Yeah, I know you drink a lot of coffee. We talked about that earlier. Man,
that's a good
did
one.
you talk about there were so many things that could be right here, and then
Just maybe not that. I mean, one little adjustment could go a long way.
Staging.
Staging going wrong.
Staging. Wow.
All right. What else we got?
Let's see. We slide into a pro tip, I guess.
Sure. Back to you.
So we always kind of end the show with a conversation about a pro tip. So you may be on the spot here. So you should be thinking about a pro tip that you would give somebody in the insurance world. I'll say this. And we talk about this all the time. It feels so redundant to say it. We said it earlier today even, but work with somebody local is always a good pro tip. I'd say another one is explore the world of non-QM mortgages a little bit, especially if you are self-employed and you think you can't buy a house because you write off too much and you don't want to change that behavior. You don't want to pay taxes. You've got a lot of write-offs. You're entitled to take those. You should do that. But if it reduces your taxable income to the point where you think you can't get a mortgage, my pro tip would be to pick up the phone this year and call someone, especially in the first quarter, because two things can happen. One, we can at this point in the year, I can have a conversation with a self-employed borrower and tell them how much income they need to show in their taxes for a mortgage to work out. And B, there's this wonderful world of non-QM where we can use alternative income calculations. We can use a bank statement loan or a 1099 loan to kind of derive an income for you that could give you some options or give you some solutions to the home ownership equation that you might not realize are available to you. So that would be my pro tip, especially for the self-employed borrowers who think that they may not be able to own a home. Pick up the phone and call a loan officer. See what else is out there.
Yeah. I would, if I can jump on that for you as well, is, I insure a lot of small businesses. And the number one thing I hear from the owners, whether they're contractors, restaurants, retail, medical offices, number one thing I hear is, getting a mortgage is so hard as a small business owner, because just like you said, I'm showing per legal tax guidelines, writing this stuff off, and now I'm getting the screws put to me.
Yeah.
And I see people paying their spouse all kinds of money so they can show income.
Yeah.
And even that, isn't always the right answer, and I'm not giving tax advice. I'm not a CPA, but there's benefits to that. There's drawbacks to that. So yeah, I would say definitely, when you talk about things like this, I know it resonates with, and not a lot of small business owners know that that's an option.
Yeah.
They feel defeated by, they try their first opportunity and they're like, I don't, make enough money, even though you make plenty,
Yeah.
to qualify for that traditional mortgage.
And a lot of times the places that they may go for that first conversation may not have those options.
Exactly.
A lot of bank loan officers do not have the broker channel available to them. And so if they go into whatever bank they may use, talk to that mortgage person, the mortgage person may not educate them to say that there's other options.
Right.
The mortgage person might just say, they want to protect the lead, right? They want to protect that. So they say, well, do this different next year and come back to me next year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good stuff.
Good stuff.
Trent, what you got going on?
Man, just more of the same. New shows, new opportunities. I think we just secured the spot on the square, man.
Nice.
We're super excited about that. So we'll be over kind of by Jefferson's and Jack Brown's upstairs in one of those loft areas, and got some cool plans and ideas to. I think that's actually happening as we speak. So that's super exciting. So fingers crossed, don't want to jinx it, but I think we're there. And,
Awesome. I know that you wouldn't put that out into the
Yeah,
public
into the
domain
ether,
and
right?
put that in the universe if you didn't feel good about it.
We've been accepted and whatever else. So just getting with the property manager and getting all set up. But that's we're super excited about
Fantastic.
that. And still keeping the spot here, the OG here at Cedar Glade, and just having options for different sets and different opportunities to shoot with folks. So onward and upward, man. We're super excited.
Well done.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that.
Awesome.
I feel like we kind of did a shiny penny with Soldier's Child.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I forgot about
shout out to
Shiny
the
Penny,
whole
but yeah.
shout out to the whole organization. Daryl's we did the Soldier's Child podcast for a while, and Scott, you were involved with that.
Yep.
And it was really cool to I'd love to get that going again. It was really powerful stuff. So shout out to the whole team over to Soldier's Child. It's amazing stuff. Like you said, got a chance to go up there to the camp in Kentucky, man.
Yeah.
Man, it was a really powerful experience. And what you said, just the common ground and people being able, it was said 3 or 4 different ways. This is the only one of the only times I feel really safe and comfortable. So it's an awesome organization. So shout out to the whole team over there.
Excellent.
Well, I think we did it, man. Scott, thanks for stepping in.
Thanks for having
you killed
me.
it.
Yeah.
He's your guy for all things insurance, guys. Commercial, personal, all the above, and grateful to have you, man.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next week.
All right.
Cool. That's not hard, is it?
Look at you. How did you know we were done? Did you know we were done to come right over here, huh? That's a pro right here.
You were trying to get her out of the background there for a minute.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.